Imagine yourself floating in space. Not the kind of space where the Earth still hovers below you, comforting and familiar, but the kind of space where Earth is a faint, pale dot. As the distances grow incomprehensibly vast, something curious starts to happen not just out there in the universe, but inside your mind. Why does space feel different from anything else we've encountered? Perhaps it's because it defies the very instincts and perceptions evolution has shaped in us. The human brain is wired to deal with the immediate, the tangible. For millions of years, we've been accustomed to landscapes we can traverse, horizons we can reach. But space laughs in the face of that logic. Out here, distance isn't something you measure in miles or kilometers. It's something you feel or fail to feel. Have you ever thought about how unsettling it is to look into an endless void, to grasp that there's no top or bottom, no left or right, no real center? If you traveled far enough, the very concept of where would collapse entirely. Yet here we are, tiny beings from a tiny planet, daring to extend our reach into this overwhelming, indifferent vastness. Why? What is it about the unknown that calls to us, despite its inherent terror? Do we feel small because we are small, or because the universe refuses to acknowledge us? And if we were to leave Earth behind for good, would we ever stop feeling like trespassers in an incomprehensible realm? Now, consider this: as we venture deeper into space, our understanding of reality itself begins to shift. The comforting rules of time and space constants we take for granted start to unravel. Think about black holes, those gravitational monsters lurking in the void. They challenge everything we think we know. Inside their event horizons, time stretches, space bends, and every law of physics we've ever discovered falls apart. What would it feel like to approach one? Could your mind even comprehend what you were seeing, or would the sheer impossibility of it break you?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
And here's the thing: black holes aren't rare. They're everywhere, scattered like silent predators across the universe. Some are as small as a city, others, like Ton 618, are incomprehensibly vast, billions of times more massive than our sun. But the most terrifying thing about black holes isn't their size or their power. It's the mystery of what happens inside them. If you were to cross the event horizon, you'd see the universe behind you slowly shrink, its light fading into red, until poof, you'd vanish, lost to a place we can't observe, can't understand. Does that sound like death to you? Or could it be something else entirely? This brings us to a profound question: is the universe as we perceive it all there is? If the singularity at the center of a black hole represents a point where all known physics ceases to function, might it also represent a gateway to something utterly alien? When you stare into the abyss, does it stare back, and if so, what does it see? But let's pull back for a moment. Deep space isn't just about black holes and terrifying phenomena. It's also about beauty. Stars, those dazzling points of light, are so much more than mere decoration for our night sky. They are factories of life, forging the elements that make us who we are. Every atom in your body was once part of a star that lived, burned, and died billions of years ago. In a way, we're not just exploring space, we're returning to it. We're retracing the cosmic journey that began with the first explosion of energy and matter, the Big Bang. Still, there's an unsettling irony in this cosmic connection. As we venture farther into space, we realize just how rare and fragile our existence is. Stars are beautiful, yes, but they are also brutal. They can swallow planets, shred comets, and unleash solar winds that could annihilate any life form foolish enough to get too close. And when they die, they don't go quietly. They explode in supernovas, scattering their guts across the cosmos in a final, violent act of creation. Now, think about this. What if the same forces that make life possible are also the ones that guarantee its eventual extinction? Is that not the ultimate paradox of deep space? Out here, creation and destruction are two sides of the same coin, and the line between them is as thin as the skin of a soap bubble. So, let me ask you, if you were given the chance to leave Earth behind and explore the universe, knowing full well the dangers and the unknowns, would you take it? Would you dare to face the loneliness, the fear, and the awe of deep space? And if you wouldn't, why not? What is it about the infinite that makes us hesitate? As we journey deeper into the unknown, let's take a step back and consider something truly strange: the nature of time. Here on Earth, time feels constant, predictable. The seconds, minutes, and hours march forward at a steady pace. But in space, this comforting rhythm begins to warp. Have you ever stopped to think about how fragile our sense of time really is? What if I told you that time is not a universal constant, but something elastic, something that bends and stretches based on where you are and how fast you're moving? Consider this: the closer you are to a massive object like a black hole, the slower time moves for you compared to someone far away. This is not science fiction, it's science fact. It's called time dilation, and it's been proven through experiments with satellites and atomic clocks. But here's the real kicker: if you were to orbit a black hole for what felt like a day, centuries could pass for someone observing you from a distance. To you, it's just another day. To them, you're a relic of a bygone age. Can you imagine the psychological toll of such an experience? Knowing that every moment you spend near such an object is effectively erasing you from the timeline of the people you love. Now, let's push this idea even further. What happens if you fall into a black hole? As you approach the event horizon, time itself would appear to freeze for you, at least. To an outside observer, you'd seem to hang there, motionless forever. But for you, time would continue normally as you descended into the unknown. Does this mean the universe can never truly watch someone cross the threshold of a black hole? If so, what does that say about our ability to understand the cosmos? Are we prisoners of our own limited perceptions, forever barred from glimpsing the full picture? This brings us to another unsettling reality: space and time are not separate entities. They are part of a single, intertwined fabric called space-time. And space-time, like any fabric, can be stretched, compressed, or even torn. The universe, as vast and infinite as it seems, is not static. It's dynamic, alive, and constantly evolving. Galaxies are moving apart at astonishing speeds, driven by a mysterious force we call dark energy. But here's the twist: the farther away a galaxy is, the faster it appears to move away from us. At some point, these galaxies will be moving so fast that their light will never reach us. They will vanish from view, as if they never existed. Think about that for a moment. The universe is literally erasing itself from our perception. What we see today, a vast, star-filled cosmos, is not what future civilizations will see. They will live in a universe that appears much smaller, lonelier, and emptier than ours. Does this mean the universe itself is an illusion? If everything we know is destined to fade away, what is the point of it all? What does it mean to exist in a cosmos that is constantly slipping through our fingers? Now, let's turn the lens inward to the most peculiar object in the universe, the human mind. Our brains evolved to navigate the relatively simple environment of Earth, yet here we are, trying to comprehend phenomena that defy every rule and instinct we possess. Have you ever wondered why the idea of infinity feels so unsettling? It's because our brains are wired to think in terms of limits, boundaries, and categories. Space doesn't play by those rules. It forces us to confront concepts like eternity, nothingness, and the infinite that our minds can barely grasp. This cognitive dissonance becomes even more pronounced when we consider our place in the universe. On one hand, we are made of stardust, connected to the cosmos in the most profound way imaginable. On the other hand, we are painfully aware of our insignificance. The universe is 13.8 billion years old and spans billions of light years in every direction. Against that backdrop, what are we? What is a single human life compared to the lifespan of a star or the vastness of a supervoid? But here's the paradox: it's precisely our insignificance that makes us extraordinary. Despite our smallness, we have the capacity to wonder, to ask questions, to dream of reaching the stars. We are the universe made conscious, gazing back at itself. That's something no black hole, no galaxy, no supernova can claim. And yet, this awareness comes at a cost. To understand the universe is to confront its indifference. The cosmos doesn't care about us. It doesn't mourn our losses or celebrate our achievements. It simply is. So, let me ask you, does the universe's indifference diminish the beauty of existence, or does it make it even more precious? If life has no inherent meaning, does that mean we are free to create our own? And if the universe is destined to fade into cold, empty darkness, is it all the more reason to cherish the fleeting moments we have? As we venture deeper into space, we are not just exploring the cosmos. We are exploring ourselves. Every question we ask about the stars is ultimately a question about who we are, why we're here, and what it means to exist. And the answers, they are as elusive and enigmatic as the universe itself. As we push the boundaries of exploration, there's one question we cannot avoid: what does it mean to exist in a universe that is both teeming with wonder and riddled with indifference? Deep space doesn't just challenge our understanding of physics or time, it forces us to grapple with the most profound aspects of life and death. In the silence of the cosmos, we are left alone with our thoughts, our fears, and the ultimate question: why are we here? Let's start with the possibility of life beyond Earth. When we look at the stars, we're not just looking at distant suns, we're looking at the potential for countless worlds, each with its own story. In our galaxy alone, there are an estimated 200 billion planets. Statistically, it's almost impossible that Earth is the only one harboring life. Yet so far, we've heard nothing but silence. This silence, often called the Great Silence or Fermi's Paradox, is one of the greatest mysteries of our time. Why, in a universe so vast and ancient, have we not found any evidence of other civilizations? Could it be that intelligent life is exceedingly rare? Or is it that civilizations inevitably self-destruct before they can explore the stars? Perhaps there are other beings out there, but their forms of communication or existence are so alien that we cannot perceive them. Or, and this is a thought that might keep you up at night, perhaps we are simply too insignificant for them to notice. If this is true, what does it mean for humanity's place in the cosmos? Are we the anomaly, or are we the inevitable result of the universe's endless creativity? Now, let's flip the perspective. Imagine for a moment that we are not alone, that there are advanced civilizations scattered across the cosmos. What would they think of us? Would they see us as a young, curious species on the brink of discovery? Or would they see us as reckless children, tampering with forces we barely understand? And here's an even deeper question: if we were to meet such beings, would we recognize them as life? Or would their existence be so far removed from ours that we dismiss them as mere phenomena, just as we once dismissed meteors as falling stars? These questions lead us to the ultimate unknown: death. Space, in its vast indifference, is a constant reminder of our mortality. Stars are born, they live, and they die, scattering their remains across the universe. Planets are formed, collide, and disintegrate. Even galaxies are not eternal. They merge, tear apart, and fade into the void. The universe itself is on a clock, heading toward an eventual heat death, where all energy is evenly distributed and nothing can happen anymore. If the cosmos itself is doomed to an eventual end, what does that say about us? But here's the paradox: in the face of this inevitable end, life persists. Against all odds, it emerges, grows, and thrives. Consider Earth, a tiny rock orbiting a mediocre star, located in the outskirts of a galaxy that's one among billions. And yet, here we are. Life is not supposed to exist, and yet it does. You exist. In a universe governed by chaos and decay, you are a moment of order, a spark of consciousness in the darkness. Doesn't that make you, and all life, profoundly special? And yet we can't help but wonder, is there something more? Could the universe itself be alive, aware, or purposeful in ways we can't comprehend? Some scientists and philosophers have speculated that the cosmos may be a kind of self-aware system, a vast intelligence that uses stars, galaxies, and even life itself as tools to understand its own existence. Others argue that consciousness, yours, mine, and that of any hypothetical alien, is the universe's way of experiencing itself. If that's true, then perhaps death is not an end but a transformation, a return to the cosmic whole. This brings us to the concept of the multiverse. What if our universe is just one of countless others, each with its own laws of physics, its own possibilities? In some universes, life may be impossible. In others, it might flourish in ways we can't even imagine. If this is the case, then what happens when we die? Do we cease to exist entirely? Or does our consciousness somehow persist, hopping from one universe to another like a cosmic traveler? Could this explain the near universal human longing for an afterlife? Let's take this a step further. If there are infinite universes, then somewhere out there right now there could be another version of you, living a completely different life. What would you say to them if you could? Would you warn them about the mistakes you've made? Would you celebrate the choices that brought you joy? Or would you simply marvel at the strangeness of it all, that in a cosmos so vast and complex, there could be another you asking the same questions, feeling the same awe? Ultimately, deep space forces us to confront not just the limits of our understanding, but the limits of our imagination. It asks us to face the infinite and the eternal, to embrace the mystery rather than fear it. And in doing so, it teaches us something profound: that life, in all its fragility and fleetingness, is an act of defiance. We are stardust with the audacity to dream, to love, and to wonder. In a universe that owes us nothing, we have carved out meaning, beauty, and connection. So let me leave you with this: when you gaze at the stars tonight, don't just see them as distant points of light. See them as reminders of the vastness that surrounds us, the mystery that defines us, and the courage it takes to exist. You are part of something extraordinary, not just a universe, but the universe alive and aware, questioning and reaching, creating and destroying. What will you do with this fleeting moment of existence? How will you leave your mark on an indifferent cosmos? In the words of Carl Sagan, we are a way for the universe to know itself, so let's keep asking, keep exploring, and keep wondering. After all, the journey into deep space is not just a journey outward, it's a journey inward, into the very heart of what it means to be alive. And that concludes our odyssey into the vastness of deep space and the depths of the human soul. Thank you for joining this exploration. What's your next adventure?